Life is all around us. Take a moment to look outside your nearest window. What do you see? If you are in the city, maybe you see streets bustling with people. Or maybe you live in a suburban or country setting where you can see lots of plants and trees outside. No matter where you are surrounded by living things that have one amazing thing in common. They are all made of cells. What exactly are cells, and why are they so important to all living things? Cells are often called the building blocks of life because they are the smallest living part of any organism. Although they are tiny, cells do really important work. Think of cells as small compartments that hold all of the biological information an organism needs to survive and thrive. Every living thing has cells working hard to do things like converting energy, digesting food, getting rid of waste, taking in oxygen, and reproducing. Cells do these jobs to keep organisms living. Right now, you have lots of busy cells in your body. Recently, a group of scientists wanted to find out just how many cells each one of us has. How many do you think they found? Take a guess. Scientists found that there were more than 37 trillion cells in the average human body. That's an incredible number of cells. We are on our way to learning about plant and animal cells. But first, let's review what we know so far. Can you answer these questions? Question 1. What is a cell? Is it A, an organism that breathes air? B, the basic unit of all living things? C, a type of tiny plant? Or D, a green pigment found in plant leaves? The correct answer is B. The basic unit of all living things is called a cell. Question 2. Which of the following functions or jobs do cells perform? A, converting energy. B, digesting food. C, getting rid of waste. Or D, all of the above. The correct answer is D, all of the above. Cells convert energy, digest food, and get rid of waste. Don't forget that cells also take in oxygen and reproduce too. Question 3. About how many cells are in the average human body? A, 2 million. B, 100 million. C, 3 trillion. D, more than 37 trillion. The answer is D. There are more than 37 trillion cells in the average human body. So now we know that all living things are made of cells. When we looked out our window, we could see that not all living things are the same. Some are plants, while others are animals. As humans, our bodies contain animal cells. Since scientists believe that there are more than 37 trillion cells in our bodies, we should find out exactly what these cells do for us. Our tiny animal cells are hard at work, doing the jobs that allow us to be healthy and strong. Each of our animal cells has 5 basic parts. First, it has a cell membrane. The cell membrane has 2 important jobs or functions. First, it surrounds the cell and holds it together. And second, it allows oxygen into the cell and carbon dioxide waste to get out of the cell. The cell membrane is like a doorman at a fancy hotel.
Hello.
He decides who gets to come into the hotel, and he opens the door for those who want to leave. In addition to a cell membrane, our animal cells have a nucleus. Think of the nucleus as the brain of the cell. It controls everything our cell does and directs its activities. Another important job of the nucleus is that it stores all of the important information about the cell that will eventually be passed on to new cells. We will learn more about this later. In addition to the cell membrane and the nucleus, animal cells also have something called mitochondria. Think of the mitochondria as the energy factories of our animal cells. They take in the chemical energy in food and turn it into energy that the cell can use to do its work. Next, animal cells have structures called vacuoles. Vacuoles are the warehouses of the cell. They store all of the water, food, and nutrients needed by cells. They also store the cell's waste until it is ready to be released through the cell membrane. Finally, all animal cells have cytoplasm, a jelly-like material that provides a soft cushion for the other parts of the cell. Wow, we have learned so much about animal cells. I bet you are ready to answer a few questions. Question 1. What do we call the part of the cell that is considered the brain of the cell because it controls and directs all of the cell's activities? Is it A, the nucleus, B, the organelle, C, the chamber, or D, cytoplasm? The correct answer is A. The nucleus is considered the brain of the cell because it controls and directs all of the cell's activities. Question 2. Which of these is stored in the vacuoles? A, food and nutrients, B, water, C, waste, D, all of the above. The correct answer is D, all of the above. Food and nutrients, water and waste are all stored in the vacuoles. Question 3. Which part of the cell is responsible for helping the cell keep its shape and allowing substances in and out of the cell? Is it A, mitochondria, B, cell membrane, C, organism, D, nutrients? The correct answer is B. The cell membrane is responsible for helping the cell keep its shape and allowing substances in and out of the cell. So, now we have a good understanding of the cells in any animals you may have seen outside of your window. But what if your view was of plants and trees? Do the cells in those plants have the same parts as our animal cells? The answer is yes. Plant cells have all of the same parts as animal cells, plus several more. They have a cell membrane, a nucleus, mitochondria, and cytoplasm. Plant cells also have vacuoles like animal cells. However, where animal cells have several small vacuoles, plant cells have one very large vacuole. Can you guess why? Do you remember that vacuoles store water? Animals have smaller vacuoles because if they get thirsty, they can get a drink of water. Plants, on the other hand, have to rely on rainfall to get their drink. What if the forecast doesn't call for rain for a really long time? The vacuoles in plants need to be large enough to store water until the next rainfall. Plant cells also have two bonus features that animal cells don't have. First, while they are surrounded by a cell membrane like animal cells, they also have a rigid or stiff cell wall. This cell wall sits outside the cell membrane and provides structure and support to the plant cells. Plants need cell walls because, unlike most animal cells, they don't have skeletons to give them support. The stiff cell walls give plants the ability to stand strong and tall when faced with wind, rain, and snow. Second, plant cells have chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are the food makers of plant cells. They contain tiny green molecules called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll allows plants to make food through photosynthesis by turning energy from sunlight into chemical energy, which plants use as food. You have already learned so much about animal and plant cells. Are you ready to challenge yourself with a few questions? Here we go. 1. Why are vacuoles in plant cells larger than vacuoles in animal cells? A. Vacuoles in plant cells are made from different materials than vacuoles in animal cells. B. Vacuoles in plant cells aren't used as much as vacuoles in animal cells. C. Vacuoles in plant cells need to store more water than vacuoles in animal cells. D, A, and B. The correct answer is C. Vacuoles in plant cells need to store more water than vacuoles in animal cells, and that is why vacuoles in plant cells are larger than vacuoles in animal cells. Question 2. What is the job or function of cell walls in plant cells? A. Cell walls control the activities of plant cells. B. Cell walls convert energy into food for plant cells. C. Cell walls cushion the parts of plant cells. D. Cell walls give structure and support to plant cells. The correct answer is D. Cell walls give structure and support to plant cells. I think you're ready to learn even more about animal and plant cells. We have learned all about the different parts of animal and plant cells. But what exactly do these cells do for animals and plants? Well, cells are certainly active and busy. As we learned earlier, they are responsible for pretty much everything it takes to keep plants and animals alive and thriving. Did you know that living organisms are constantly making new cells? Animals and plants need to make new cells in order to grow into adulthood. For example, as a puppy grows into an adult dog, its cells will need to make many new cells for its growing body. Living things sometimes need to make new cells in order to replace cells that are old or dead. This process of making new cells is called cell division. How often do cells divide? In the human body, cell division occurs around 2 trillion times a day. There are 2 main ways in which cells divide in animals and plants. The first is called mitosis. This is the process a cell uses when it wants to make a clone or exact copy of itself. Did you ever skin your knee when you were little? The cells in your body use mitosis to repair and replace the damaged skin. Skin cells work quickly to begin to fix the damage by creating exact copies of themselves. The process starts when a skin cell, called a parent cell, divides itself into 2 daughter cells. These daughter cells have all of the same information and can do all the same jobs as its parent cell. The great thing is that these daughter cells are already able to divide again. This means that your skin cells were able to quickly make enough copies of themselves to replace that scraped skin on your knee. Animal cells also use mitosis when they are ready to grow. As you grow, your body needs more skin, longer bones, more blood, and bigger muscles. Mitosis helps bodies grow tall and strong. For example, our puppy's cells used mitosis to provide all of the new bones, muscles, and blood that he needed to grow into an adult dog. But what happens when the entire organism wants to reproduce? Reproduction is the process in which brand new individuals are created. In this case, cells use a process called meiosis. Meiosis is different from mitosis in some important ways. First, during the process of mitosis, the parent cell divides once and makes 2 daughter cells. During meiosis, on the other hand, the parent cell divides twice and creates 4 cells instead of 2. The other important difference is that these 4 new cells contain only half of the information from the parent cell. These cells aren't ready to divide again by themselves. In order to be able to divide again, these cells will need to be joined with information from another animal's parent cell. This second animal cell will give our new cells the second half of the information they need to become a new individual living organism. This is why it takes 2 parents to create new animals. The offspring, or babies, get half of their cells' information from the mother and half from the father. Meiosis is the process that gives us the variety we see among animals. The combining and shuffling of cells from the mother and father can create different sets of information. For example, one child of the same parents might have brown hair, while another has red hair. The information from their parents' cells just joined together differently for each of these children. Wow, you have already learned so much about what animal and plant cells do. Let's take a few minutes to review what we know. Question 1. Why do cells need to divide? A. In order to help the organism grow. B. To replace damaged or dead cells. C. To create new organisms. Or D. All of these. The correct answer is D. Cells need to divide to help the organism grow, to replace damaged or dead cells, and to create new organisms. Question 2. What is the name of the process in which cells divide to create exact copies of themselves? A. Mitosis. B. Photosynthesis. C. Digestion. D. Reproduction. The answer is A. Mitosis is the process in which cells divide to make exact copies of themselves. Here's question 3. During the process of meiosis, how many times does the cell divide? A. Once. B. Twice. C. 3 times. Or D. 5 or more times. The correct answer is B. The cell divides twice during the process of meiosis. Our animal and plant cells certainly have been busy, but they are not done yet. So far, we know what is inside animal and plant cells and how they are able to divide in order to do different things. Did you know that cells also organize themselves in a way that allows themselves to do many different jobs all at the same time? Our cells are great multitaskers. This is what allows our heart to beat, our brains to think, and our muscles to move us, all at the same time. How do cells do this? Although cells in an animal or plant contain all of the information needed for these important jobs, different cells use different parts of that information to do their individual work. For example, the cells that make up your lungs use only the information that tells your lungs how to breathe. These cells don't need the information about how to make new skin or how to grow longer bones. How do they do this? In order to get the body to do all of the specific and amazing things that it does, animal cells first organize themselves into tissues. Tissues are groups of cells working together to do a specific job. Think about your lungs. The cells in your lungs organize themselves into lung tissue in order to help you breathe. Amazingly, our cells know how to make 4 types of tissues. The first type of tissue that our cells can create is called connective tissue. Connective tissue is found in blood and bones. It supports other parts of the body and connects or binds them together. Cells can also create epithelial tissue. This is the tissue that lines the insides of our organs and covers our bodies. This tissue's job is to protect. The third type of tissues found in the human body is muscle tissue. Guess where this type of tissue is found? You got it, in the muscles. This tissue allows body parts to move. Our cells also form to create a 4th type of tissue, known as nerve tissue. Nerve tissue transmits or sends signals from our brain to all parts of our bodies and helps to form nerves. So far, we know that the cells in our body join together to form tissues. Next, these tissues work together to create organs. Organs are formed when a group of tissues work together to do a particular job. So, your brain tissue came together to make your brain, which is the organ that controls all of your thoughts, behaviors, and movements. We have many different organs in our bodies, including our lungs, heart, liver, and kidneys. Our bodies even take this organization one step further by creating organ systems, which are collections of organs that come together to do all of the most important work needed to keep us alive. We have many organ systems in our bodies. Our skeletal system, nervous system, digestive system, and circulatory system all work to keep us going. Let's think about our nervous system. In order for it to work properly, different parts of our bodies need to work together on the same job. In this case, our brains need to work with our spinal cord and our nerves to collect and process information. In our skeletal system, it is our bones, cartilage, ligaments, and tendons working together to give our bodies structure and support. All of these organ systems working together make up our amazing bodies. We are so used to seeing our bodies as a whole, sometimes we forget that it is made up of parts, and parts within parts. Next time you look in the mirror, notice that you see your whole self first. But remember that your body is made up of tissues, organs, and organ systems all working together to keep you healthy. And it all starts with the tiny, humble cell. Here's a thinking question for you. How are the jobs or functions of the different parts of a single animal cell similar to the functions of that animal's organ systems?